This is a Fox News alert, and we're not overselling that. This actually is a blockbuster story. So the CEO of Facebook, Mark Zuckerberg, just went on the Joe Rogan podcast. And while speaking to Rogan, he admitted that Facebook censored the New York Post's accurate reporting on Hunter Biden's laptop, which of course we all knew, but that Facebook did that because the FBI intervened and told Facebook that that laptop was Russian disinformation. And of course, how would Zuckerberg know? They believe the FBI.
Basically, the background here is the FBI, I think, basically came to us, some folks on our team, and was like, hey, just so you know, like, you should be on high alert. We thought that there was a lot of Russian propaganda in the 2016 election. We have it on notice that basically there's about to be some kind of dump of that's similar to that. So just be vigilant. So our protocol is different from Twitter's. What Twitter did is they said you can't share this at all. We didn't do that. What we do is we have, if something is reported to us as potentially misinformation, important misinformation, we also have this third-party fact-checking program because we don't want to be deciding what's true and false. And for I think it was 5 or 7 days when it was basically being determined whether it was false, the distribution on Facebook was decreased, but people were still allowed to share it. So you could still share it, you could still consume it.
So when you say the distribution is decreased,
it got shared.
How does that work?
It basically, the ranking in newsfeed was a little bit less. Fewer people saw it than would have otherwise. So it definitely...
By what percentage?
I don't know off the top of my head, but it's meaningful. But basically, a lot of people were still able to share it. We got a lot of complaints that was the case. And obviously this is a hyper-political issue, so depending on what side of the political spectrum, you either think we didn't censor it enough or censored it way too much. But we weren't sort of as black and white about it as Twitter. We just kind of thought, hey, look, if the FBI, which I still view as a legitimate institution in this country, it's a very professional law enforcement, if they come to us and tell us that we need to be on guard about something, then I want to take that seriously.
Did they specifically say you need to be on guard about that story?
No, I don't remember if it was that specifically, but it basically fit the pattern.
About the FBI that very few, unless you've been in the criminal justice system, understand is they have had decades of being allowed to lie. In fact, Jesse, legally, they're able to lie. That is written into the law that the FBI, when it's engaged in investigations, can lie to individuals. And you see what lack of accountability and transparency and the combination of the law actually allowing them to do these tactics has produced.
You're allowed to go to one of the richest men in the world who runs the biggest social media outlet before an election and lie to him to get him to suppress a story to change an election?
If they have in their decision making decided that The greater good is an investigation of Donald Trump or of conservatives and a dangerous policy, and they believe that they have certain statutes that they can investigate as a result of that, then there's really nothing that can prevent them right now in the law from lying, just bold-faced lies. That's why you see things like outrageous conduct that's happening in relation to the FBI and surrounded by, additional people that they utilize, in their investigations, informants, etc., who also lie because they have grown accustomed without being held accountable for that kind of activity.